Hello everybody, Robert Rose here with the weekly news, bringing you the news that you need to lead in content marketing. And remember, you can always get more news at contentmarketinginstitute.com. This week's news ending February 10th, 2022. And really, only one notable news item in the news this week, and it comes to us courtesy of the IAB, the Internet Advertising Bureau. And it's the release of their State of Data Report 2022. Now, this is the fifth year for the report, and it covers the current perceptions of access to first, second, and third-party data. They also partnered with Ipsos to look at how changes in privacy legislation, the end of third-party cookies, and identification and addressability is affecting data collection and measurement in marketing and advertising. Now, we get after the IAB quite a bit here at CMI, but generally speaking, this report is really quite good. Now, the call to action and the tone of the report, well, it's a little bit like that scene in Jerry Maguire, you know, where the one where Tom Cruise is like,
"You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?" Just, God, help me. Help me, Rod. Help me. Help you.
But other than that, there's some really interesting information in this report. The first thing, well, we don't care much about this whole first-party data and third-party cookie apocalypse that's coming as marketers and advertisers. Less than half of the industry leaders they spoke with feel knowledgeable about Google's Privacy Sandbox or any of this cookie apocalypse coming. Further, if you segment that group into just brands, the number goes down to 32%. That's because it's overweighted by this 68% of ad tech community professionals that are knowledgeable. I mean, they better be, right? I mean, what I want to know is who in that 32% of the ad tech community isn't knowledgeable? I mean, isn't that their only job? Anyway, the report asked what these respondents were actually going to do about the disappearing third-party cookies and identifiers. Now, this was a really weirdly answered question because basically all the answers were the same. I mean, the sum of it being, yeah, not much, other than maybe call the IAB and see what they think about it. Anyway, fascinating stuff here. Then finally, and this is really the punchline for me, the whole report, right now, third-party data purchasing is growing. That's right, you heard that right. Third-party data purchasing, buying email lists, all that stuff is going up. 8% last year and is up almost 50% over the last 5 years. We're spending money on third-party data right now like drunken soldiers. The net of the report is that brands are woefully unprepared for the collapse of third-party data, third-party cookies, and the effectiveness of first-party data and marketing. Now, our take here at CMI, well, it's something that I still think the IAB doesn't get, and it's the actual reason that CMOs and brands don't really care much for this issue right now. Are you ready for it? Here's the issue. It's not a measurement issue. See, in the marketing and advertising industry, we keep talking about access to this data as if it's simply a measurement challenge that we'll be able to measure less effectively. It's not about that. This is a marketing capability and reach issue, how we reach the consumers we want to reach. Put more simply, as we start to position this as, shucks, this whole first-party data thing, well, we're not going to be able to measure our advertising better. CEOs at brands and CMOs at brands are going to say, well, that's a real shame. All right, let's talk about TV again. And in my humble opinion, this is why we're seeing this level of underpreparedness. So, go download this report, and if you find that you're really struggling about making people care about the whole first-party data and disappearing cookies challenge that's coming, just remember, it's not about measuring better. It's about how much more do you want to spend on walled gardens like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, etc., rather than starting to develop your own ability to do reach and frequency to the audiences you care about. And that's it. That's 3 minutes of news that you need to lead in content marketing. I'm Robert Rose. Remember, it's your story. Tell it well. I'll see you next week.